What do you get when you get 3 top producing agents together on a panel to share information about what they're doing on social media and with video? You get something that you're not going to want to miss. This is one that I can't wait to share with you. So I love events. I love sharing ideas with agents. I love getting agents together in a way that helps everybody grow. And we got the opportunity to do that. And with our company, basically what we did maybe a month or so ago is we gathered all of our agents together, and we had agents that were top producers from all around the country come in and share what was working in their business and what they're doing to make sure that they're not just doing real estate, but they're living a life that has abundance as well. And so this one is something that was pretty special to me because I got to get 3 of my friends together. I actually had Molly Slagle out of Houston, Texas. I also had Heidi Harris out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and Alicia Cop out of St. Louis, who do a great job on Instagram and with video. And we shared some of the things that they're doing in their business in a way that people could practically take them and apply to their business. This is one of those that I know that if you'll just listen in and take and apply 1 or 2 of the things that you hear on social media, it'll make a big difference in your business. Now let's get to it. Some of the things that maybe you may not have thought of. What's great about this group is we've got along the journey, we've got a number of things that we're going to talk about when getting started. Obviously, then we're going to have, 201, 301, and we're going to have some pro opportunities there as well. So if you don't mind, I'm going to let y'all introduce yourself. Alicia, if you don't mind, where you're from,
right.
That kind of.
So I'm Alicia Cop. I am from St. Louis. So I started focusing on social media about 2 years ago. I realized when my son went away to college that if I didn't get on Instagram, I would never keep up with him.
That's right. Something new. So when you started, was it something that got you started as far as something in particular that you were thinking about?
Yes, so I had asked one of my boys if they could read this newsletter and this Facebook post, and my son said to me, "Mom, do you have a video version of that? Like, do you really want me to read through this whole thing?" And so when I started doing research, I realized 80% of content is actually coming from video. So I knew at that point I had to pivot, make some changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Heidi, introduce yourself if anybody doesn't know you.
Hey y'all, I'm Heidi Harris. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. You can follow me on Instagram at Home Sweet Heidi. That's like Home Sweet Home, but it's Home Sweet Heidi. I got started when I started in real estate in 2012. I had no sphere of influence, so I had to make one, and I got on Facebook, and then Instagram came around, and I've just been hustling ever since. And every year I make about $100,000 in commission off of Instagram. This year my goal is to do $200,000 off of Instagram.
Yeah, it's impressive. Molly.
I'm Molly Sold It out of Houston, Texas. You can follow me on the gram. I just started my 5th year in business. I closed just about $23 million in volume, and I've seen a steady growth. I was Rookie of the Year that first year, 100% because of Facebook. The business I got that first year was all Facebook business, and I don't mean from ads. That was just me just churning and burning on Facebook. Like, here's what I do and here's how I do it.
None of us pay for ads or business.
That's right. Yeah.
Just want to say that.
And then I figured out a way to hone my sphere through social media. And for a while, I realized now as an agent who's done this a little bit that what I was using Facebook for was really like a CRM. And now I use it to support my CRM. So and Instagram, actually it's funny. I met Heidi 3 years ago at an event for Berkshire Hathaway called the Rethink Council. And at that time, I think I had maybe 25 Instagram posts, and they were all like of my daughter and my dog and fish. And then Heidi was like, "You need to get on Instagram more. You need to grow your business there." So I sat and chatted with her a little bit, and then I committed to it. So 3 years later, I have almost 2,300 followers. I think I made, probably about $75,000 in commission off of Instagram last year, right around that. And it's just staying consistent and following what Heidi had suggested originally.
So let's talk about some of those things that you're doing that are really helping generate those that amount of business. So Molly, let's start with you. Kind of what is it that maybe you can talk about the type of content, maybe a flow if you prepare ahead, kind of types of things if you don't mind.
Sure. So I do have a like a system, and you can see it on my page. But I do posts that are carousels. I do posts, and a carousel means, like different photos roll through, because I've discovered that if you have more than one photo, it'll actually show up on the feed more than one time, right? Like it'll come up the first photo, and then the next time the person refreshes the page, the second photo will come up. So I do like knowledge posts. I do personal posts. You will still see my dog and my daughter. And then I also put in video, and I have a fun fact. I use an Instagram creator account. You can look at your statistics on a creator account. It's free. You just change the kind of account that you have on the settings. And using those stats, I noticed that last year I invested in a videographer to help me do some really top-notch video work. But I get the most mileage out of these like little one-offs. Yeah. Like seriously, that's the stuff. Or the like setting up a selfie stick in my office and talking a little bit about the market and how things are going. So will I continue to invest in a videographer? Yes. Will I invest as much? No. And if I think it's really an important message that I need to get out there, it's going to be shot from my selfie stick at my desk. I will not do that as much anymore.
Right.
Because the authenticity is what people are looking for.
It's great. Yeah, Alicia, you want to
So I was just going to add to that. I completely agree. I've spent a lot of money on videographers, and what I'm seeing is a whole lot less perfection and more authenticity. I think that's what people want to see. I don't know if that changed, and it pivoted a little bit during COVID, but the perfect videos are not really what gets the most engagement with me.
Yeah. And Heidi, I think you can speak to this too on your flow, but I'd love for you to speak to the fact that, a lot of people, they'll say, oh, well, you've had to have 10,000 people, you got to have all these people, but it's the depth instead of the number of people. You want to speak to kind of your flow, and if you don't mind, start us off after that. Well, talk to us about your flow first, and then we'll go to the next.
So I'm a very authentic person. I met Chris earlier, and she's like, I follow you on Instagram, and you're so animated. And I was like, that's actually the right way to explain me. But I'm just myself on Instagram. If you don't like me, that's cool. Even if you don't send me your referrals, Raleigh, North Carolina. But be yourself. I don't do the things where people, well, Wednesday at 7 p.m. has really good engagement, so I'm going to post that. Cool, but if my daughter is crumbling and trying to go to bed, I'm not going to be like, hold on, Stella, I'm going to post this real quick for mommy's Instagram followers. So I'm just myself, and I just post when I can. I think that also creates a level of media trust. So when I'm going into a listing appointment and somebody follows me on social media, it's bonkers because they know me. I don't know them at all, and I have the job.
Right.
If they're interviewing other people, they're like, and we're also interviewing so-and-so, and like they just like to draw, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's great. But I get it, because they trust me, they know me, they like me, and it's so easy.
Yeah.
And y'all, it's free.
Yeah.
Heidi, you said once that when you walk into a listing appointment and somebody follows you on social media, you don't even really have to open your marketing materials.
No. Yeah, I have it because I'm a nerd and I want to have it and I want to flex on them. But yeah, I don't have to work hard to get it at all. And then also they'll tell their friends, they're like, do you follow Home Sweet Heidi on Instagram? You should, you'll see my house, right? So it becomes this wave. And again, it's all free. Well,
yeah, if you don't mind, Heidi, speak to that, because obviously somebody may be here and they're like, well, gosh, I don't even know where to get started. How did you begin to have the followers begin to follow you? What would you be doing now to gain that traction?
Hashtags.
Yeah.
But first of all, I love to make up stats. So I'm going to make up a stat for you guys right now. I bet 60% of you do not have an Instagram account. And I bet that you're sitting here looking at us being like, I don't care what the Heidi says. I'm not going to get on Instagram. And you know what? That's fine. Get on Facebook. Get on LinkedIn.
Get on LinkedIn.
My male rich buyers, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Just
And
get
also-
on something and
Yeah.
talk about what you know.
Right, and LinkedIn, a fun fact, like if you're working in a corporate job, we have, like for example, Shell in Houston, if you're on their intranet, you cannot see Instagram and you cannot see Facebook at work, but you can see LinkedIn. So you can check LinkedIn all day long. So if I'm posting there, the drive and reach there is massive. So if you do anything different this year, everybody else will tell you, get on TikTok. I don't TikTok.
I hate TikTok.
I hate TikTok. It's
Don't
not my
do
thing.
TikTok.
I have a 15-year-old. She can do that all day long. It's not for me. But LinkedIn is where I'm going to grow this year.
So what are you doing content-wise? And then Alicia, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah.
What are you doing content-wise difference on LinkedIn versus on Instagram?
So I have a really smart friend, and she told me this. Can I use your line?
Please do.
Okay, so this is my difference. I use the same pictures. I use the same everything for Instagram and Facebook. But if I'm putting it on LinkedIn, I type it like I'm telling the story to my dad, because he wants the quick and dirty.
good.
Just the facts.
Tell me the facts. When did you list it, honey? What'd you list it? What'd you sell it for? How much more? And did it all go all right? Good. I'm so proud of you. Good job. But when I tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, this place is gorgeous. That's on Instagram. But I do not do that on LinkedIn.
Yeah. You want to add to that, Alicia?
Well, I was just going to add to that. One thing that I would love for everybody to really walk away with is this. If you don't start sharing, somebody else will. This is today's version of prospecting. Obviously, a phone call and in person is always more powerful, but it's how people are ingesting content today, and it's how we can blanket a lot of people at once. And I've had that happen so many times, what Heidi said. People already know you. People already know the names of my kids. People know, they build that trust with you before I even walk in the door, and I don't work hard for it. Once they know me, they know me.
And it does act as a filter. I mean, that's the thing. Heidi mentioned this. If you don't like her, that's fine. Listen, it really does act as a filter to get your people. We call them OKPs. Y'all know that, our kind of people. It literally gives you the ability for your kind of people to find you in a special way. So you want to add to that?
Yeah, sorry, word me. Go for it. No, you go first, because what I was saying was a little different.
Okay, well, what I was going to say is originally you asked like my flow on
Yeah.
Instagram and how I get the followers. Is that what you're going to?
Go first.
Were you going to say hashtags?
No, I wasn't going to say hashtag.
Okay. But if you are on Instagram and if you're struggling like I did for a few years, if you are super bored, go to the very bottom of my Instagram and just laugh with me about how bad my content is. That's fine. It took a lot of time and it took a lot of practice. And for me, I just really enjoyed learning it. So it kind of came a little bit easier, because if you don't love it, then don't do it. But I'd much rather talk on Instagram and 4,000 people know what I'm saying than make 4,000 phone calls.
Yeah.
But hashtags were the quickest way for me to grow my business. So if you currently have an Instagram account, use your hashtags. And I mean this. If you say, Heidi, will you please create my hashtags? I'd be thrilled to do it for you. I can't tell you how many people I've sat down. First time I met you, I was like 15 minutes in, I'm like, Alicia, here's your hashtags.
Yep.
And I'm happy to do it. Email me, Heidi@HomeSweetHeidi.com. I will turn it right around. I'll give you your hashtags. I'll make sure that they're trending. I'm happy to do that. Because what people do is they get on Instagram and they look for hashtag Dustin Realtor, right? And they click that. Yeah. And then who shows up? You and all of your competition. So you want to make sure that you're continuing to do it. You want to make sure that people know that you're the pro. And then that's how, one, you're going to gain followers, and two, how you're going to gain clients. Because really, the reason we're doing this is to gain clients. But followers certainly help with credibility.
Go ahead, Alicia.
Well, and I was just going to add to that. Heidi and Molly were just talking about Facebook being a good place to sort of get your feet wet. And they call it Facebook. They don't call it life book, family book, dog book. It's about your face. And so what I had to learn the hard way is you actually have to show up. Like, your face is what people want. And I'm not that important. We're not that important. It's not about us. It's about the content that we're bringing to people. So, if you look at Oscar winners or Emmy winners, any famous actor or actress, they don't watch their own work. They can't stand it. It makes them like, oh, does my voice really sound like that? It's okay. Not many people actually like themselves on video, but it's what connects you. That's the connection.
Yeah, and one thing that's kind of interesting about this also, Heidi, you and I have talked about this, that it's not even just in your local market. Can you speak to some of the things that it's done for you as far as referrals?
Ooh. It's a game changer as far as referrals. So on my Instagram, and if you don't have an Instagram account, just blank out real quick. But on mine, it says Home Sweet Heidi NC Realtor, because I want people to remember that I'm in North Carolina. Even if you're looking for somebody in Charlotte, that market's 2.5 hours away from me. Mario would be glad to help you. But I want people to come to me. I want to be their resource. So the amount of referrals I get from it alone are bananas. And we know not all referrals work out. But at least that's me representing real estate in North Carolina, and that is absolutely huge.
Do you know it's really annoying when need to find a referral partner. And I get on Instagram and I don't know where you are as an agent in your name tag. Like, it's very important on that, it's my like top 5 things would be make sure that it says where you are right beneath, like, here's your name. And I love that people write, like, I'm a mom, or I'm a fisher, or some of that, whatever. But if it does not say where you live, that's no help to me, because I want to send you a referral and I don't know where you are. And if I wanted to say about how to grow quickly, I make sure I tag myself wherever I am. If I'm at a coffee shop working and I'm taking a random photo for a story, I tag that location. And then I would also challenge you to use a Google My Business page, start growing your Google spot where you are, and upload your photos there and tag them, because that is another place where people will find you quickly. You can also take little 30-second videos of your reviews or of a spot that you are and upload that to your Google page. This is the other place I'm working this year to grow. And tag that, because people will see you based on your location, not on, your hashtag. Like, unless somebody knows me as Molly Sold It, they won't hashtag look for that, right? They'll look for Houston Realtor, they'll look for whatever. But if they look up Wild Coffee, well, I'm probably sitting there working. And so, that's very helpful. And then the other thing I suggest is just tag the people that you're in the photo with. That's a simple thing to do. Obviously, ask their permission, but always, that's a great way to reach. And then another answer to your question about flow, I started out making myself do 3 posts a week. And it was like, I never called it this, but in my mind, I'm like, Molly's Minute. Like, what am I going to talk about this week that's like a random one-off? And it didn't have to be about real estate, but I made myself get on and talk about something.
You put it in your calendar. You time blocked for it.
I time block it still, yeah. Then I talk about my current listings or closings, and it's not even necessarily a video. It could be like, this is what's pending, this is what's coming. And then I do some kind of knowledge post about our real estate market or real estate in general, or about staging. I make sure that I'm doing those 3. I still do it now. It's become like a habit, and then I filter all the rest in. But if you don't know what to talk about, maybe try those 3 things, and then put all the the fun stuff. People love dog posts.
Yeah. Alicia, you want to add to that?
Yeah,
And Heidi,
I was just going to tag on to what Molly just said. So if you have not delved into Google, this is the biggest search engine out there. And I can tell you right now, I have $3 million pending from people who just typed in St. Louis Realtor. And I didn't think that it would really work, but because I started on YouTube, Google owns YouTube. And so because the video content is there, that's how and I absolutely agree with just posting more photos. Ask your clients to give you a Google review. Google is huge right now.
Yeah, this is a good shifting point too. If y'all don't know, Heidi and I did an interview of Heidi where we talked about Google My Business. To me, it's the most important thing you can do as far as getting organic traffic right now. And I think the thing's been seen about 7,000 or 8,000 times. So if you're looking for that and you want to really break down on how to do that, also just we've got a resource. Karina's been great to be helping some of our agents. I know that we were working on some in different places. And I know one agent that we literally optimized hers, and I think she had her first closing for over $1 million this last month, like 2 months after we set the Google My Business page up. I don't know where Karina went, but yeah, it was pretty amazing. Yeah. So focusing on that now. So let's shift to that now, Heidi. Yeah. Let's talk about Google My Business and some of the things that you're seeing with yours, and some of the things you're doing to optimize that.
Whew, you got 4 hours? All right, so Google My Business. First of all, go and watch me and Jimmy's thing. I don't know where you host. I guess it's just your YouTube page.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It will walk you through all of it. If you want more on the Resource Center, phhsresource.com, go to the IQ system. If you type in Heidi Harris, it will have more information on there. I don't know what it's really called, but if you type in my name, you'll find it. Anyway, Google wants you to have reviews. It wants you to have posts. It wants you to have all kinds of stuff. The most important thing is getting started, and it's free. So if you ever talk to me about marketing, I'm always going to say it's free and just get started, because that's where you have to start, okay? But for me, getting testimonials on there has been absolutely huge. If you know me for 5 minutes, you know that I'll always say, my clients love me the most on closing day. So on closing day, I'm sending them a little text that has exactly they're leaving, they're like, hey, that was great, thank you so much, I can't believe blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, do you mind if I send you a text and you can just like leave me a quick review and say some of those things? They always say yes. And then I always follow up with, I just loved how we sold your house in 2 days for $35,000 over list. That was just awesome, such a blessing to you. Also, it helped your neighborhood. And they're like, yeah. Well, then I text them as soon as I get in the car, which is 2.5 minutes later, and everything I just said is right there in their mind. So it's like I've told them what to say without telling them what to say. And when somebody looks for me go ahead. If you want to, Google Heidi Harris. You will see my testimonials. You'll see high-res pictures. Everything looks good. To me, this is my resume. I started my job with 8 people in my SOI. 8. And they were all married to each other. So I technically had 4 couples. So I had to find people somehow. And this is how I've done it, guys. And I'm sure you guys have much bigger spheres than I do. So to me, I just think, 1, get started. 2, make it look like a baller resume. Because if somebody goes and looks for Heidi Harris and then somebody looks for my other competitor, who I did this last week because anyway, I smoke her out. Like, I look like a big deal. And so to me, that's really important.
What would you say as far as, listen, if you're wondering about Google My Business and you're not sure how to set it up, the beauty of the time we live in is go to Google and type in, how do I set up my Google My Business? It's literally all you got to do.
That's exactly how I
It takes
did
15
mine.
minutes to start.
And it'll get you started. And then, so let's talk about that. One of the things, Heidi, we've talked about is really just making sure you're complete with everything. You want to speak to that, and then maybe a couple tips on some of the things, and I'll go into a few things.
Are we
soon.
still on Google
Yes,
My Business?
yes.
Okay, cool. So remember, as Alicia said, Google is the top search engine, right? And then it owns YouTube. So make sure that your Google's set up beautifully. Make sure Google wants you to have 100 pictures on your Google My Business. I don't think I have 100 pictures.
But I have a suggestion for this. Literally go back to your old pictures from your old social media
And just upload
them.
Yeah. And another thing is, if somebody gives me a Facebook testimonial, but they don't get around to doing Google My Business or whatever, I just copy that, I put it in Canva, I make it look so pretty, and then I upload it to Google. So it's a Google review without it going through Google, but the image is there. So that's really big. But yeah, 100 pictures is big. Making sure, and I don't care what y'all do with this, you could talk me in or out of it one way or another, but setting up your hours is really important. Some people do have the 9 to 5 on their stuff. If you look at mine, I'm open 24 hours a day. I don't want somebody to say, ooh, it's 6 o'clock, I better call Heidi's competitor. I want you to call me instead. So make sure that your hours are set up. Holidays, I make sure that I'm just cruising 24 hours a day. And besides, I'm trying to think what else.
Just making sure you fill all the blanks in, just make sure you got everything.
Oh, and making sure that your YouTube, if you don't have a YouTube account set up, awesome. You get to do that tomorrow because I said so. So this is your homework, okay? But the more strong your YouTube is, the more strong your Google is going to be because they play so well together. So for me, when I have listings, if you watch my social media, you know that we do a sneak peek of all of our listings. It's 35-second video because there's a lot of information saying that men will not watch a video over 40 seconds unless there's cleavage in it. Well, unfortunately, there's 0 cleavage in any of my listings, so we do it for 35 seconds. And we put those out, we upload it on YouTube. On our YouTube, we have the address as what the house is. So if somebody's looking for 123 Main Street in Wake Forest, North Carolina, they can Google that. And instead of Zillow or Realtor popping up, guess who pops up? YouTube, because YouTube is owned by Google. So then my information's right there, and on the video, which is prettier than whatever Redfin's gonna put out, right? Then my video's there, and it's got all my contact information there. So hopefully I'm capturing leads before somebody goes to Zillow and has to pay for that.
And let me mention about the pictures also, whether it be that you're looking for content on social media or your Google My Business page. One of the things is in case y'all are not aware, agent media assets. If you don't have that, just email marketing@bpfla and we'll send that over to you because there are literally thousands of pictures and videos there that are available for you guys that are just B-roll shots. Everything that's available in there is a great way to do this. All right, let's wrap it up with a couple of things. Love for y'all just to talk about if there was one thing, if you had to start all over, what is the one thing you would do for social media? It doesn't have to be any particular, what would you do? Alicia?
I would say just start. I think that we have this way of wanting to be perfect before we get started, and that never works. And so in my world, I realized that scrolling equals procrastination. How many of you have done that, where you spend an hour scrolling because you need content? And actually, that's just me procrastinating, so I would just dig into it, even when it's messy, and I'm tempted also to go back and delete those beginning posts, but it shows how far I've grown.
That's great. Heidi?
Well, if I was going to start now, besides just getting started, which is, my favorite thing, Instagram Reels are huge, and they're kind of fun.
They are.
So look at my page, Home Sweet Heidi, on Instagram. This morning, Molly and I did one. In Modern Family, Phil Dunphy, how he's a realtor, and there's that scene where he's like, today I get to talk about the one love of my life.
Residential real estate.
Residential real estate. And
love
so
it.
Molly and I did that this morning. And Reels, because Instagram's trying to promote it, whatever is the most successful way of getting followers is whatever the format's trying to promote at the time. So right now, Instagram's trying to get people off of TikTok, and they're trying to keep them on Instagram. So Instagram is really favoring Reels right now, Reels. It's just little videos. So those right now have been a really great way to get me more followers. My goal this year is to get 6,000 followers. Last year I had 3,000. I sold I got $100,000 in commission off of it. I feel very confident that if I do 6,000, I can get $200,000 of commission off of it. So to me, I'm focusing a lot in my Reels, make them funny. There's all kinds of people you can follow on Instagram that will give you all kinds of cool tips and tricks.
Great.
My biggest tip would be video. I know that sounds crazy, but my very first business coach said, you should do video. Like, why aren't you doing video? And I was like, that's not anything I want to do, but I'll do these great photos. And had I done exactly what I had been told to do back then, it would be radically different right now. And so that's probably my bigger regret. But now I just try to keep the video rolling, and there, along the line of, whatever's working at the time. Reels right now are the thing. Start there. It'll be something different in 8 months. It'll be whatever it is then, and try to continue with whatever that is. And also, just it done is better than perfect. Like, hop on there and just get going, and don't go back and delete. I try not to do that too.
Absolutely.
So take a look. All three of us did a really fun reel together. It's on me and Heidi's page, and we tagged Molly. So they're super fun.
Yeah, it's really just, the collaboration is out there. The beauty of it is, if you're wanting to grow on Instagram, there are plenty of examples out there. One of the best things we can do is to go find people in other places. These are three great examples. Take what they're doing in other places. It will work here, and begin to bring that stuff back here. I will say, consistency is key. Everything that you're doing is going to be consistent. We've got some amazing people that do amazing things in our company with social media, and I could go down the list. I just glanced out, I just saw the Queen sitting right up here, the Berkshire girl herself, and she puts a crown on, another one sold, every single time, and so it's however you do it. I'm looking, Jay Johnson does private messages on Facebook, and he's gotten a ton of his business through that. We're seeing there's not one easy, there's so many different ways you can do this. So if you're looking for ways to do that, just know that you're going to be hearing in just a little bit about some of the things that we've got planned to teach you guys from a company perspective. But also, one of the things that I know that the three of them would tell you, one of the great resources we've got is we've got Tim Scarborough as our in-house videographer. And so Tim literally has hours that he is in the different offices every month. And so if you're looking for that, you can email Tim, set up some time. He can help you with some generally green content, whether you're wanting to do market reports, whether you're wanting to do things. First off, I will say this, Tim's been with us now for a little while. And one of the things that's great about Tim is if you're not comfortable on video, he makes you feel comfortable when you first start shooting. He does a great job of giving you some ideas, some ways that you can do things, and really getting you comfortable on those things. One thing about video also that I will say, because listen, I will say this, if you're not doing video yet, and I know I say it all the time, y'all, but I'm just telling you what I know that I know. Be doing video. It literally is the best thing you can be doing especially with our area, there's so much. Literally today, you could take shots when it's 70 degrees and you post that out there and somebody's going to see that in Chicago or in somewhere else that is freezing or sitting in a cubicle and they're going to be like, oh my gosh. I've got to get down there. So take advantage of the aesthetics we have and all of the tools that we have, because in reality, not everybody's got the assets that we do. So take advantage of all of those things. So if y'all don't mind, let's give a round of applause to our group. Thank y'all. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.